It's Tim Albright with AVNation with an ISE 2019 special. What we're doing is we are previewing the stands and booths that are going to go into the RAI in Amsterdam for Integrated Systems Europe 2019. Comes your way February 5th through the 8th. And with me to talk about his stand is my buddy Justin Kennington from the SDVoE Alliance. Welcome, sir.
Hello, Tim. How you doing?
I am well, bud. I am well. So if folks are going to the show and they want to come by and see your bright and shining face, they can go by Hall 3B as in boy 150, Hall 3B150. So when they are in Hall 3 and they come along the booth, what are they going to find there?
What they're going to find is the Matrix transformed. What we've really started to try and explain to people this year is that SDVoE is a lot more than AV over IP. We're not just the best AV over IP, but really the transformation of this matrix switch that we've been using for decades. So we've really tried to focus on that message by showing a couple of demonstrations, including all of the advanced processing capabilities of the SDVoE platform. That means that unlike a matrix switch, we have video wall processing, image scaling, video conversion, and even multi-view processing, image compositing, built right into the endpoints so that you don't need expensive external hardware. Maybe the more interesting demonstration, though, is we'll be showing several member SDVoE products working together in an interoperable way. So that's something that we've never really achieved with the matrix switch.
Well, and talk about that for a second, because SDVoE is you guys are built on a platform. That interoperability part is kind of crucial for you guys and your members, because let's be frank here, you have members, manufacturers who are members of your alliance. They're all making their own different products, right?
That's right. Actually, today there are 158 products shipping available for purchase right now. 158 products built around the SDVoE standard. A lot of people don't realize that we've grown that fast in just the 2 years since ISE 2017 when we launched this alliance. So not only are we showing off that interop capability at our booth, but our friends at Lang AG from Germany, massive influential rental and staging integration services provider, will also be showing off some SDVoE hardware and capabilities with several manufacturer products interoperating together in their booth.
So when one of the things that you have shown is you've shown things like switching capabilities. You also shown the ability to transmit 4K 60, 444, the differences in the different types of transport. But one of the things also that I want to get into is what folks call latency, and that is the time it takes from the inception of a video all the way through to it coming out and it's some sort of display. You guys show computer monitors. Why is latency such a big deal for you guys to start talking about to dealers?
Well, it's because people are accustomed to the performance of a matrix switch, right? I'm saying we're transforming the matrix switch. That's why I don't like to say we're replacing it or displacing it, because the function it's given us in AV for the past 80 years, right, since TV was invented, is very important, and that's delivering the signal with the highest quality possible and without any latency, right? I mean, of course, everybody points out, well, there's no such thing as no latency, right? It takes time for electrons to go down a wire. That's all absolutely true. So let's say sub-millisecond latency, right, below the threshold of human perception, and that's what the matrix switch has always delivered. And that's what SDVoE is capable of delivering. That's why I said we're not just the best AV over IP, because AV over IP always comes with those compromises, comes with compression, comes with image artifacts, and comes with latency. But in fact, we're the actual transformation of the matrix switch.
Lastly, before we kind of wrap up here, you've said that you're the transformation of the matrix switch a couple of times. I actually did a presentation for you guys for the SDVoE last at Infocom, and you had done an interview where you said the matrix switch was dead, and I said it wasn't, which is never a good idea to contradict you. But and I go on to talk about the fact that matrix switch isn't dead; it's just in heaven, it's in the cloud, right? You guys have kind of and this had nothing to do with me. I just want to point it out. but you
No,
guys
no,
have
you
taken that.
get full credit for our entire 2019 marketing plan.
But
We couldn't
but
do it without you.
you've put it in the cloud. That's what you've taken that, and then that was honestly, in all honesty, that was your point, was the fact there's no longer a physical quote unquote 64 by 64 switch where we're plugging in HDMI connectors, but you guys are taking that in the cloud. When you're talking with dealers about this, how are you able to get over, number one, the trepidation of putting things quote unquote in the cloud, but number two is to get their heads no longer wrapped around that 64 by 64 matrix, which, because let's be honest, there are some of us who are of a certain age, and I'll put myself in there, that were used to putting in big ginormous matrix switches, and you got to get them out of that mindset and into a mindset of, well, no, now we're doing it virtually.
Sure. Well, a couple of things. The first point I want to make clear to the audience is that what we do in SDVoE is not technically the cloud, right? We're moving everything over Ethernet networks, Ethernet infrastructure, but we're not at this point sending things up to some data center and back down with sub-millisecond latency. We're not there yet. That would be cool, and I'm sure we'll all head that direction. But to the point, Tim, about transforming the matrix, I've started enjoying making a subtle distinction between matrix switching and the matrix switch. Right? So matrix switching, the verb is that function that we need of moving signals around from point A to point B, or multiple points with zero latency and with perfect image quality. The matrix switch is that big chunk of hardware that 10 years ago was the only way to perform the function called matrix switching. Right? And so what we're saying is today, an architecture built around SDVoE can enable the function of matrix switching without the matrix switch. So how do we make folks more comfortable? One of the approaches we're taking to that is actually to make the Ethernet switch start to look more like the familiar matrix switch, right? Because in the 80 years that we've been using it, the matrix switch evolved a lot of really nice, really useful features. One of those is modularity, right? We're all accustomed to a big matrix switch product has I/O cards, so I can mix some HDMI and I can mix some HD-base-T in whatever ratios I need. So one of the founding members of our alliance, Netgear, has a product they launched actually at ISE last year. Now, think about what I just said. Netgear launched a product at ISE, which is a 96-port modular Ethernet switch. So it has plug-in cards of 10 gig Ethernet, of 40 gig Ethernet, of copper, of fiber, etc. So until now, you could mix these different speeds and feeds of Ethernet and make exactly the switch you need. What the SDVoE Alliance is announcing in partnership with a couple of member companies at ISE this year is a new module for that switch that is not Ethernet ports on the outside, but HDMI ports. So now imagine an Ethernet switch that has a mix of 10 gig Ethernet connectivity and HDMI connectivity natively right on the box. So that's a way that, again, we're transforming the matrix, but part of that is by making this Ethernet world more like the familiar world of the matrix switch.
Oh, very cool. We can see all of this and more actually at the SDVoE Alliance stand again. That is in Hall 3, B as in boy 150. But not everybody is going to the show, even though I know it felt like it last year. Not everybody is going to the show in the entire world. So, Mr. Kennington, if they are not going to the show, how do they follow along with everything that SDVoE is going to be talking about that week?
Follow our social media. You can find us at SDVoE on Twitter. You can find the SDVoE Alliance on LinkedIn. And don't miss the updates that'll be coming to our website at sdvoe.org.
All right, very good, Justin Kennington from SDVoE. Again, if you want to go by, if you're going to ISE and you want to go by, their stand is Hall 3, B as in boy 150, Hall 3, B 150. For us at AVNation, you can go by the website, avnation.tv, avnation.tv, find this program and a host of others, or follow along as we also head to ISE 2019, February 5th through the 8th, and bring you everything from the show floor, including we'll get a conversation with Justin at their stand. All that and more at avnation.tv. That's avnation.tv.